My name is Lorna Titania and I'm the Senior Digital Product Manager at City and Guilds. I'm here today to talk you through an exciting new pilot we're running based on issuing digital credentials to learners who are studying for the new hair professional apprenticeships. Now please don't panic if you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea what a digital credential is. That's fine, I'm going to introduce you to credentials today, the benefits they offer to you and your apprentices, and also how you can find out more and join in our pilot. So another term you might have heard if you're not familiar with digital credentials is open badges. Now I always think when people start talking about badges, the world naturally separates into two camps. The cool camp who pinned badges to jackets to show support for their favourite band or a cause they were passionate about. And those who were perhaps in the brownies, the guides, the scouts, or avidly collected swimming badges. So just to nail my colours firmly to a mast, that's me on church parade, carrying the flag, proudly demonstrating my badges. Now, we all love a badge, and they're great, but they can be a bit limited in the information they convey. So if we look at the brownie badges, if we take that one with the frog on, now I know, because I had this badge, that it's the swimming badge. But looking at it, you might also think it was the frog lover's badge or amphibian specialist or I don't know what. And it really doesn't tell you that I had to swim 50 meters and I had to tread water for 2 minutes. And I gained it when I was 7 or 8. So digital credentials are really the next natural evolution for City and Guilds as an awarding body. We have paper certificates, we also have e-certificates, and now digital badges or digital credentials as we call them, as we think that name better conveys the importance of them and the skills they represent. Now this infographic is a useful one for sharing with colleagues within your centres or learners and apprentices to help them understand the value of digital credentials. And there are a lot of great reasons highlighted on this infographic, and I'll talk you through some more of them as we go along. Now all digital credentials are built on a secure open standard. Now this means that a credential issued by City and Guilds can be seen alongside credentials collected elsewhere, and they all have this common structure. So going back to my brownie swimming badge, if it was a digital credential, you'd see the design, although I hope we've improved a bit on the frog, but you'll also see a description of the what I had to do to pass the badge, who issued it, when it was issued, etc., giving you far more depth and understanding to the skill I'd acquired. So I'm delighted that you're interested in joining our Apprenticeships Digital Credentials pilot. We're really keen to recruit as many pilot centres as we can across the whole range of provision, so FE colleges, private training providers, and also employers. Digital credentials provide a really exciting new way to motivate and reward apprentices on programme, helping them to take the lead in their own skills development and driving accountability and independence. The issuing of digital credentials could also be aligned to the mandatory 12-week progress reviews. So you might be asking, why digital credentials for the on-programme element of apprenticeships? Well, there are 3 really strong reasons why. The first is around apprenticeship framework expectation setting. So being able to give a real sense of what the learner or the tutor needs to evidence on programme. It offers an opportunity for clear milestones of achievement. So breaking down long apprenticeship programmes into bite-sized chunks prior to gateway decisions or endpoint assessment. And also as a tool to drive standardisation, providing consistency of delivery across multiple delivery locations by large and often disparate teams of trainers and assessors. Now, City and Guilds has its own digital credential platform from which we can issue our credentials, working in partnership with the Digital Me part of our skills credential cluster that now also includes ILM. So let's take a look at the apprenticeship frameworks we've designed for the hair professional apprenticeship. Now we've created two frameworks, one for the hairdressing route and one for the barbering route. If we look first at the hairdressing route, we can see the mandatory units listed first, followed by optional units, and then pre-gateway credentials that can be issued to recognise the route a learner took. The Maths and English credentials can be achieved any time prior to gateway. Then we can issue credentials for the Level 2 diploma and also a separate credential at pass or distinction for the final endpoint assessment as well. Now this framework has a number of advantages. First, it ensures that learners can achieve bite-sized successes along the way to keep them engaged and motivated across what could be on average 24 months it takes to complete. They can also showcase their specialisms. Those pre-gateway credentials ensure those unable to pass the barrier of Maths and English have recognition of their vocational skills, and for those who progress through the gateway, an opportunity to have credentials both for the industry recognised diploma and also for the new EPA. So you can see that the same approach has been taken for the barbering framework, but it looks a little bit simpler as it doesn't have the optional units. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each digital credential has criteria kind of hard baked into it, and this is called metadata. And here is an example of the level of metadata that sits behind each badge in our framework. So you can see the level of detail that's embedded into a digital credential. And here's an example of a consultation credential for hairdressing. So now to the nuts and bolts. How does a centre issue a digital credential? Well, step one is to fill out and return a very simple quality statement form, which basically just asks you to nominate a champion for us to liaise with and details of who will be issuing the credentials. We will provide a link for you to be able to view all of the credentials and the metadata that sits behind them. Now, centres are responsible for making a decision about when an apprentice is ready to receive an on-programme credential. You'll have noticed that the on-programme elements don't have the City & Guilds logo on, as the decision lives with the centre. For the qualification or EPA credentials, they do carry the City & Guilds logo, as we'll have QA processes that sit behind the issuing of those. Now, all we're asking centres to do for this pilot is inform us when you'd like a credential issued, and we'll take care of the rest. We will need a first name, a surname, and an email address for each apprentice, and for you to select which credential needs to be issued. We'll provide a simple spreadsheet containing this information, and we'll confirm the details for requesting EPA or diploma credentials later on in the pilot. So how will an apprentice receive their credential? They will simply receive an email saying they've been awarded a credential, and on receipt of their first one, they will be asked to create a simple account. We can also share a simple getting started guide with you to distribute to your learners. Once a learner has set up their account for the first time, they won't need to repeat this step, and they can simply store and manage all of their credentials from one lifetime profile page. So one of the many strengths of digital credentials is their reach, as they can be shared widely. Now, options exist for downloading embed codes, downloading images of the credentials for inserting in email footers and CVs. There are also options for sharing on most of the major social media platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So here's an example of somebody sharing a credential on Facebook. So you just go into where your credentials are issued to, click share on Facebook. It will pull the credential into your status update, and you can choose to say something about it. Click post to Facebook, and it will appear in your newsfeed. It really is as simple as that. So that's Facebook. LinkedIn, there are a couple of places on LinkedIn that you can show your credentials. You can add it to your profile, so it will appear with your recognitions and your qualifications quite down near the bottom on your LinkedIn profile. And what the platform does, it allows you to copy all of the relevant kind of data strings across to the relevant section in LinkedIn and press save and finish, and that will appear in your recognition section. Or perhaps a little bit more simple is share to your network, where it will automatically pull in an image of the credential, a short description, and you can edit that text if you wish to, and that would appear in your LinkedIn feed. And finally, Twitter. If you'd click share on Twitter, you can see this example of an industry advisory board member badge. So it would pull the badge, a short description, and I can slightly tweak the copy if I want. Just be aware not to change the copy after the HTTPS bit, because that's what physically pulls the credential into the badge, but you can edit the rest of the updates and press go, and that would appear in your Twitter feed. So thanks for listening to this briefing. I hope you found it a good use of your time. If you like what you've heard and want to get on board with our pilot, please email digitalcredentials@cityandguilds.com and we'll send you all of the supporting information you need and can hold your hand through the process. If you've questions or technical issues as you begin to issue and your learners start to receive credentials, we have an online knowledge base, or you can contact our digital support team. And if you have wider questions or feedback on this pilot opportunity or digital credentials more widely, please do get in touch with me directly. Thank you.